Hello, welcome to the Opinionistics. I'm your host, John Malone. In this episode, no co-host, because reasons, I guess, as always. Introducing from New York City, but currently in Costa Rica, Harvey Wizard.
Hello, everybody. Pura Vida from Costa Rica. And this is actually the first time I'm publicly announcing my candidacy. I am a 2024 official registered with the Federal Election Committee and everything candidate for President of the United States, for 2024 President of the United States. And, I decided to do it because I realized I was actually more qualified than anybody else running. Well, I'm only 64 and 3/4 years old, which means something. And if anybody just does a quick Google search of Harvey Wizard, you'll say, how the heck could he be 64? He looks 44. And my answer to that is, if I could figure out how to beat the fountain of youth, of course I can lead America better than Donald Trump or Joe Biden. And people should remember, since I'm currently registered for those in the United States, since I am currently a Democrat, Joe Biden didn't get what he needed to do to be on the ballot in New Hampshire. So if we want to send a message that we want real change, magical change, you just have to write in Harvey Wizard in that New Hampshire Democratic primary. And even a handful of votes is going to send a message that you want positive change. And I am actually, besides being a 2024 presidential candidate, and why am I qualified? Well, I've done everything Americans dream of doing. I'm an internet multimillionaire. I built an orphanage in Ethiopia. I raised a child. I employ people and pay them double what everybody else pays them. I figured out how to beat the SAT, and that's part of my platform. Jobs for all, scholarships for all, brutal honesty for all, because I'm beholden to no one. And so I can talk about political solutions that will actually make the world a better place. I don't take money from any kind of big interests. And I really felt that were Donald Trump to end up president next year, were that catastrophe to befall the United States, both in terms of its global reputation and just making me more a laughing stock as I travel around the world, I said, let me do something that I can do to feel, even if that were to happen, that at least I took a stand and tried to make a change. And again, I have purposely divested myself of all human assets, and that allows me to be the most dangerously honest man in America. So I can tell you the things that nobody else would dare say, because they may be worried someone would sue them, and then they're going to lose their house, as people say in the United States. It's a litigious society. So, I can tell the truth about other candidates, the truth about the political situation as well. Shall I keep talking, or do you want to break in? Is this a monologue or a conversation? How does it work?
I don't know, just go with the flow,
All right. Well, I'll take that as an invitation. Now, I want this to be recorded. Can I be as blunt as possible? Can I be completely honest on your show?
Yes.
Especially
Go ahead.
Okay. Because I've got dirt and secrets on everybody, because I've been around a while. Yeah, I know a certain Mission Impossible star who likes dalliances with Asian men, and I won't tell you how I found that out, but I know something about everybody. So, but let's just talk about the Trump supporters, shall we? I mean, the interesting thing is, when I was in school, went a long time ago. Like I said, I'm almost 65, but we had reading groups, and there was the red group, there was the blue group, and there was the yellow group, which were done so that no one would feel bad. You don't want anybody to feel bad. And so we did it with colors, but of course everybody knew that the blue were the smart kids, the yellow were the kids in the middle, and the dum-dums were in the red group. And isn't that strange how all those red group reading kids grew up to be Trump supporters? So the problem that I have, It's not, as Hillary Clinton said, a basket of deplorables, because a basket is just like infinitely too small to hold all of the deplorable Trump supporters. Fundamentally, if you support Trump, you are in favor of racism, stupidity, uh, hurting immigrants, hurting gay people, hurting Jewish people, putting white people first, and basically celebrating the fact that you didn't get a good education, you don't know what's going on. Am I allowed to curse on this one?
Yes, you can.
Okay. And basically, yes, the world has shit on you, but you've got to be pretty stupid to sit in your pile of shit. I mean, when you realize coal is on its way out, and this is part of where I come in as the next president, because see what look ahead. I am a visionary. I'm the only polymath running for president. Yes, not only have I built a series of multi-million-dollar businesses, I'm also a published songwriter, an award-winning photographer, a best-selling author, a documentary filmmaker, and a philanthropist who built an orphanage in Ethiopia. I try to do my part. And I'm even a globe-trotting stand-up comedian, currently accepted to beat the Guinness World Record for longest stand-up comedy routine. And now that you've seen how I can just go at it, I'll be talking as long as you want. You can see how that would be very possible for me. So the point is, I have a set of skills. I've managerial skills. I have skills across industries where I can actually help the United States problem solve, being beholden to no one. And we can talk about the fact that, hey, if you want a successful entrepreneur as your president, well, that's me, because I actually started from nothing. I grew up lower middle class. I actually worked so hard that I graduated high school in 3 years, a year early, as valedictorian of the class ahead of me. Then I graduated Phi Beta Kappa from Dartmouth, but I immediately started making $150 an hour as a street musician in New York City in the 80s. So I have vast problem-solving skills that I'm going to bring to the presidency. And right away I say, don't wait. Don't wait for me to become president to let me fulfill my promises to you. Anyone, you just go to harveywizard.com, you'll find a link, become a wizard. I'm going to start giving you as much free information as I possibly can. This is sort of take masterclass on steroids. I will teach you how to do everything. And in fact, because I have a history of doing the impossible, and you can see that on my website. Started my first business when I was 11 years old. And it was because I wanted a camera in a dark room. And my mother said, well, you have to go and earn that. And I said, okay. And then I noticed two things happened simultaneously, actually. The first was I was watching an episode of 60 Minutes, and that is it's still on. It's a news magazine show, and they have interesting stories sometimes besides the political ones. And this one was on how to win contests. And the fundamental message was you can win the contest if, in the old days, as before the internet, this is in the 60s, you can win it if you make sure that your entry stands out in ways that are going to attract the attention of the humans at that time who were picking through the pile of entries, you see. And it's not that different whether you want a job, whether you want to go to Harvard, whether you want your business to succeed. It's a matter of finding that hook, making yourself stand out. And in this particular week, it was the Cappy Dick contest, coloring contest. And if you won, they were giving a set of World Book encyclopedias, which was worth a few $100s. It was the big prize in those days. And this particular week, the coloring contest was to color the fireflies. But the fireflies were just a few dots, and the rest of the entry was black, because it was simulating a evening campfire with the fireflies. So I, dotted in the fireflies, realizing how could anybody stand out in that environment. I created Fred the Firefly, a cutout character, and I just pasted the entry on Fred the Firefly's stomach. And through that, I won my set of encyclopedias, which I already had one. I sold the old set, financed my darkroom and camera. And then, because it used to be you could make local phone calls for free, I just started going through the phone book at random, and anybody who picked up, I said, "Hello, do you have any children in the household?" And basically, if they said yes, I would sell them on letting me photograph their kids for free, and they just pay for the prints that they want. And there, at 11 years old, I set my course and never had to work at McDonald's. And then I started the largest pregnancy massage center in the country with my first wife, and also started a baby photography business off of that, then a wedding photography business, all of which successful, award-winning. And then when affiliate marketing was in its infancy, I figured out how to beat the Google algorithm. And that's when I became an internet multimillionaire, featured in the New York Times bestseller, Get Rich Quick. But I didn't stop there. Then I realized when Skype came around that since I could use the system I'd already built for beating the SAT in the college admission process, and I was a pioneer in offering SAT tutoring online 10 years ago, way before the pandemic. And through that, I figured out my system, which is mathematically infallible, and that's why I'm the only one in the world who can guarantee a 1530 plus out of 1600. You may not know the numbers over there in UK, but it's a near perfect score good enough to get into Harvard. And then I show students how to become serial entrepreneurs themselves, raise their profile so that I can offer a 100% money back guarantee on getting into places like Harvard and Stanford, depending on your GPA. And what was great is while I was doing that, living here in Costa Rica, I discovered that you've got these great teachers. They speak English. They're highly underpaid. I was able to double their pay, and still I can offer for $599 a more guaranteed service than my competition, who's charging up to $100,000 and once even 1.5 million. And there's still room to go. So anyway, so in the middle of all this, I sort of came back to comedy in 2019, messing around, and discovered that given that I've had this sort of strange life where I have been married 4 times, I've lost fortunes in the divorces, but finally here I am on marriage number 4 to a woman who is 30 years younger than me, which not only do I have all the joys of that, it also ensures that I have admitted to the BW30 Club. Have you heard of BW30 by chance?
I don't think I have.
I haven't. Okay. Well, BW30 is a special club that it's basically for men only, and well, it's really for any man who is banging a woman 30 years younger than him. And actually, I mean, you do have to provide legal proof. So my marriage certificate gets me in, as does Buzz Aldrin. He's 96 and he married his 66-year-old girlfriend. Unfortunately for Mick Jagger and Vladimir Putin, it was harder for them to get in, because you need that legal proof, and it could be hard getting a notarized letter from the woman you're banging in a cheap hotel room. But anyway, they ended up in there, and so here I am, hanging out in Costa Rica, and running for president at the same time. And the interesting thing is, there's an arrest warrant for me, but clearly now it doesn't mean a thing, does it? Right? Because I mean, I didn't even do anything criminal. It's just my first ex-wife. I made $30 million, and this is the truth, busting my hump day in, day out, selling get-rich-quick schemes to Trump supporters. And that's the truth. And then when I left my, well, I took the wrong pill. That's the truth. I took the wrong pill, and as a result, I went from kind of a nebbishy Woody Allen type to the kind of man who would marry not 1 but 2 Romanian webcam girls. It wasn't my fault, you see, because they gave me Prozac to fix my depression, and you'd be depressed too if you were married for 28 unhappy years to my Jewish princess. I mean, my Jewish princess was such a good cheater, she wanted me to apologize for her affairs. And I did, for not giving her all the attention she needed, which I didn't. But then again, Princess's medical diagnosis is 632.5. Do you know what that is? You're probably not a psychologist, so you wouldn't.
Don't think so, no.
632.5. No, it's emotional vampire. So I took Prozac to ease the depression of being emotionally drained and sexually humiliated on a daily basis by an emotional vampire. But as I said, Prozac was the wrong pill for me. And it stimulated my previously undetected bipolar disorder, made me crazy and manic, and starved for pussy. You said I could say what I wanted. It was a scene straight out of Dr. Jekyll meets the Incredible Hulk in Hugh Hefner's bedroom. And I was transformed from a nebbishy Jewish little Mr. Goody Two Shoes into the kind of man who would divorce his Jewish wife of 20 years and marry, yes, I did marry not one, but two Romanian webcam girls. Once I had seduced and had sex with them virtually on a porn site. And I've got the marriage licenses, the bruises, and the substance abuse problem to prove it. I do remember the night I proposed. I got down on one knee on my satin semen-stained sheets. Making virtual love is tricky business, you know, and sticky business too. You need to get your webcam close enough so your penis looks enormous, but far enough away so you don't ruin the lens with a load of you-know-what. And so there I was, down on one knee. I felt like Richard Gere, and the Romanian webcam girl was my pretty woman. So right up to the webcam, I put a gorgeous but affordable cubic zirconium ring because I'm Jewish and who can tell the difference on Zoom. And I asked the webcam girl to marry me in real life. And I was both happy and relieved when she said yes, because I knew marrying her was the only way I'd ever be free from that $5 a minute porn site charge. And eventually I married not one, but two Romanian webcam girls. Oh, I know what you're thinking. Consecutively, not simultaneously. What do you think I am, a Mormon? Two Romanian webcam girls, or as the Jewish princess like to call them, those Romanian hooas. Romanian hooas. You have to appreciate the whiny sound of that because Jewish princess grew up in the Bronx. Now, am I saying that leaving your cheating emotional vampire wife in the Bronx for a couple of gorgeous Romanian hooas will make you look 20 years younger? Couldn't hurt. My comedy name is Papi Azucar, which means sugar daddy in Spanish. It also means I'm positively irresistible to gold diggers of every gender and diabetics. But I digress. The point is, life, well, I'm glad that this is a place where I can actually speak my newly trademarked slogan. Sometimes I do things for the sake of, did you know you could do that? Turns out, if you use F***K, you can register it with the United States Patent Office, and people have. Yeah. Somebody already has F***. It's basically, it's fuck jeans. There's fucking delicious frozen yogurt. And now I've got the trademark, fuck it, we're all going to die, which is really a testament to, if you just accept the mortality that is all of our birthrights, you probably should have more fun and take more risks, you know, because what is there to be afraid of? It's all coming to an end eventually and not going much beyond that. Shall I keep going, or do you have any feedback so far?
Well, this is looking interesting, I might say.
You're so cool. You're almost like the Andy Kaufman of podcasts. So understated. It's kind of here in Costa Rica, you know, because you know the slogan "Pura Vida," which means pure life, you know, and you know it's a smiley kind of thing. Everybody's so happy, but there's another side of that. You know, there's the guy who didn't have a lot of ambition or sense, and he built his house on the river bank, and we have this heavy rainy season, and you can just hear him, "Honey, is the house?" I think so. Pura vida, fix it mañana. Unfortunately, that's what can happen, when people don't have the kind of energy that I'm bringing to the presidency. I mean, that's part of it. I'm freaking almost 65 years old. And you don't hear Joe Biden, or as I like to call him, Donnie Dum Dum, talking about that. And since we have a little extra time, so here's the deal, people. If I understand that, the world of high finance and people like, like Donald Trump are attractive to, if you've worked a job your whole life, and and you just want to show up every day for work, get a decent paycheck, and feed your family, and then you see this guy, wow, look at all that money, wow, he must be really smart. Yeah, but anybody who's actually at his level, I mean, I went to an Ivy League school, but I did not have to get someone, my daddy didn't pay somebody to take my SATs, and everything from his professors in University of Pennsylvania, which that's why he doesn't release his SAT. The guy's a moron who got $400 million of his daddy's money and basically blew it. And if you look at any investment expert, they will tell you if he simply took the money and put it in a stock fund when he got it, he'd have more money than he does now. He's a sick puppy. If you know the historian, please, people, read Mary Trump's book. She lived with the asshole. She grew up with him. She knows where all the cracks are. I mean, in a way, it wasn't his fault because he was tortured by his dad. And it's so strange. If you go look at old pictures of his dad, he's taken on the look. His dad, the champion Brooklyn grifter, it was Queens grifter, selling cheap, crummy apartments to Black people because they don't count. Okay, that's how the Trumps have always been. Interestingly, they came from the Drumps in Scotland. So if you're somebody in the middle and you're listening to this, please reconsider. You don't want to be a greedy, racist moron and vote for Trump. And I'm going to do my best to give my votes to Joe Biden in return for working out some system where he's not maybe the only one standing there. Maybe we come up with some team presidency. Anything is better than letting Trump destroy the country. And for those of us who remember Nixon, we are more than a bit perturbed. And it's just painful to know that anytime you travel, and I travel the world a lot, that people are looking at you with pity. That's bad. That's bad. America that with pity because anyone with half a sense. Now, then again, there are those who are voting for the various idiots around the world. And we have an idiot in Argentina, we have an idiot in Hungary. But I look for inspiration to Ukraine because I'm only 5'3". So and I think he's about an inch or two taller than me, and I will be Zelensky's height when I wear my elevator shoes. But the point is, I think we now have proof that a little Jewish comedian is what every country needs to bring back a true sense of national pride. Yes. Yes. And if you simply go to harveywizard.com and become a wizard, we can start right now. In fact, I'm doing another impossible task. I love doing the impossible. So I just found out from my publisher, because my book that I've conceptualized, but I've only written the first paragraph, and it has to be delivered to the publisher on January 1st so that it will be published on my birthday, March 4th, 1959. Right? And people say, well, how can you do that? Well, I love to do the impossible. So with the help of AI and with the fact that my life is full of amazing stories, I intend to dictate at about 2 hours a day the book, use AI to finish it, and prove that I can write a bestseller in just under 3 weeks using AI. And once I've done that, you're probably going to want to buy my AI business certification course. For only $3.99, I will show you how to do all kinds of amazing things with AI. I will guarantee your job placement. Job elsewhere, I will hire you myself. Now, that's a promise that starts today. And you just have to go to harveywizard.com. Just anywhere in the world, if you go Harvey Wizard, you will see a full page. It's easy to become a wizard, and I hope you will. And I'll just read you And part of becoming a wizard is you then get the opportunity to buy my book, which will be selling $25 hardcover for only $1 on the day of publication, March 4th, 1959. The name of my book, 65-Year-Old Badass, 21 Unconventional Secrets to a Life of Wealth, Health, and Adventure. Here's the foreword. I wasn't always a badass, Allen in a world craving superheroes. Then life hit me with its best shot. 3 divorces, a dead kid, millions lost to gold diggers, banished from the USA, and excommunicated by my favorite rabbi. So now I channel an intellectual Sam Kinison. May his memory be a blessing. But how do I look so goddamn good after all I've been through? And why am I still smiling? Read on, friends. Read on. Well, that seems like we're at 27 minutes. That seems like a good time to pause. Anything from the peanut gallery?
Well, I only have one thing to say. So, as a candidate for the 2024 presidential election, what plans do you have to adhere to the masses, to tell everyone about why you're a very good candidate to be the next president of the United States, given the amount of competition there is?
Right. Okay. Number 1, I've got 169 IQ. Number 2, I look 20 years younger than I should, thereby demonstrating my personal discipline, my ability to beat the fountain of youth, and my problem-solving skills. As a serial entrepreneur, I've taken businesses that were just on the verge of crashing and built them back to make millions. My generosity has been proven through my scholarship program for minority students and having built an orphanage in Ethiopia. I've helped nonprofits across the board. And the main thing I offer is a clear head and brutal honesty. Yes, I am a Democrat, but Joe Biden, you're too old. And yes, as a Jew, I will say this. There's a fundamental problem with Israel. And the problem, and Israel ought, and I say this as a Jew, accept it. You know, if I was offered a big piece of land that my granddaddy's granddaddy owned in a KKK enclave somewhere in this, I wouldn't move in, because it's just not worth the trouble. How Israel finds itself. It's not a good idea to build your house where everybody around hates you. And the only reason Israel occurred was because of the world's collective guilt after World War II and the Holocaust, and nobody else wanted to take us. But fundamentally, and Netanyahu has forgotten that, because then you have to realize, okay, you got a little luck. You got to make nice. But the whole aggressive idea of this is our land and now we're going to expand, that has to go, which means Netanyahu has to go. And if I'm president, I will say that. Bye-bye.
Interesting. I can see that.
No, seriously. I mean, just be a little bit humble, Israel. I mean, yeah, they get, they gave it to you out of guilt, which is very nice, but don't push it. Just the world hate. It's like, I'm not going to change that. So there in the middle of the Arab world may not be the best place to be. But you got to, and given that you're there and generations have been there, I think you need.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it was
Hamas are not terrorists. They are. But anyway, go ahead. I had to throw that in.
Well, I was going to say. Okay, yeah, I understand that. I can see where the response could go with that. Well, anyway, I was going to say that it was a great episode. That's all we have, and it was great having you on, Harvey, talking about you're putting yourself up for 2024 presidential candidacy and your origins, and wow, a lot of things you have to say. It's interesting and rather entertaining, I might say. So yeah, it's been fabulous.
Thank you. And I will look for the posting on Spotify.
Me too. And until next time, stay opinionated.